Hi, well, welcome to the first edition of Behind the Bench for 2019. We're adequately going to call this Coffee with Coaches because, well, it's that time of day, I suppose. But we're here with the two Nanook assistant coaches, Karlis, Zirnis, and Howe. Guys, how's it going?
Good, how you doing?
We're doing pretty good.
Doing well.
Yeah. Obviously, a split on the road into this last weekend of Bemidji State. We've had quite a few games since our last one in October. We did with this with Coach Largen. But let's talk about the team a little bit so far, how things are going, and then we'll kind of break in a little more specific from there. Karlis?
Well, with the team, right, obviously everybody can look at a record, right, and see what it is. I don't think we're happy with the record what it is, but at the same time, there's a progress, and we're just going through the process and everything else. So now you're looking at it the second half of the year, right? It's been kind of new slate to the second part, and it's 1-3. But I thought we played pretty well in this Northern the Saturday night, and then 2 games we played on the road. I thought they were pretty solid games. Again, better performance for us on the Saturday nights here. But again, I think we're making progress and going the right direction.
And Joe, goal scoring has been a little bit of a kind of a roller coaster so far this year, and we obviously had a great weekend against Ferris State up here with 10 goals in that weekend, 6 goals and 4 goals on Friday and Saturday respectively. But since then it's been 8 goals with total between 6 games so far since that series. It seems like some of the offense is trending in the right direction. There's pressure there, but what's your take on things so far offensively?
Definitely, the consistency has been lacking with us. Part of that is our power play. Obviously, we've been a little bit snake bitten there. I think we've been generating some good chances, but with the amount of chances we've been getting, we just haven't got the results from it. And so that's definitely a focus of ours going forward, and it has been. But we've dealt with a few injuries that have affected that, but that's no excuse. The power play has to be better at the end of the day. 5-on-5, I thought we played well for spurts. We're building offensively. I think we haven't got rewarded as much as maybe we could have, but also we've played in that stretch between Northern and Bemidji 2 of the better defensive teams in the country, and also our conference as well. A great goaltender with Northern and Antti Tolvanen, and then an older team and a very disciplined and well-structured and well-coached team of Bemidji State as well. So we knew goals were going to be hard to come by. That being said, we aren't happy with the production, and our guys know it too, and they're frustrated. And some of it's been some of our top-line guys, some of our big-minute guys haven't gotten the production that they've wanted to, but our big focus has been attention to detail, playing the game the right way, and knowing that we will be rewarded for that, and also taking steps in the offensive zone, which I feel like we have been doing, and so we're heading in the right direction, just not as quickly or as fast as maybe we'd like right now.
Sure. And a lot of your top line guys you're mixing things up a little bit too. I've noticed that, as a fan watching the game. I mean, Steven Chandrick, Colton Leader, Kyler Hope have been pretty much the rock as far as the top line is concerned. But even then, on some of the special teams units, you guys just kind of split them up a little bit, gotten Chad Staley involved. What's kind of some of the chemistry you're seeing in practices? What's kind of who's gelling with who, and how are things shifting in that direction?
Well, if you kind of look at it, I think he just goes the last weekend, right? I think the decision was to mix some lines up, and maybe our top line was so be called with Leader, Jenny, and a Hoper, right? That kind of ate a lot of minutes up, and that line got split up and everything else, and giving other guys opportunities, right? And I thought they did pretty well, and I thought Younger jumping in that line. He gave a different dimension to that line and everything else, and then Hoper got put back with Teets, and I thought he did a pretty good job on that line too, and they had some good opportunities scoring, and then again the bottom 6 or whatever you want to call it, I thought they've been playing very well. Again, whatever they asked, they've been doing a pretty good job. So again, anytime they can put some more pucks towards the net, we're going to obviously be happy. But again, everybody's trying, everybody's working hard, and everybody's trying to do their best.
Yeah, defensively things have kind of been again. I'll use the term roller coaster a little bit. Obviously, injuries play a big part of that. We lose Chris Chandler for a little bit of time, but goaltending too in the same aspects. Gustav Skrigel's been getting quite a few stars. Had the first 3 or the first 2 of the year, the first 1 of the year before. Anton gets the following 3. Talk about the team defensively, kind of where we're at and how things have trended the last several series.
I think defensively, like you said, a little bit of inconsistency again, which has been the story of our team overall, really, in some nights. But defensively, we've got some things to clean up in the D zone. Going from the big sheet to the small sheet can be an adjustment for some of our guys, and again, when you're playing with different players, playing different guys in the lineup every night, there's always kind of an adjustment, guys coming back from injury and things like that. But I felt defensively overall we've been pretty good. Our goaltenders, I think, have been very good. Anton and Gustavs and Nico and Tony in practice as well. I mean, we feel like we've got 4 really good goaltenders, and Gustavs gets a little banged up, so he's in and out. And Anton deserved a better fate, especially early in the year. A lot of those games where we just weren't on the right page as a hockey team, and it was good to see him get rewarded in a really good defensive effort against Bemidji, and that's what it was going to take, because we knew it was going to be a tight game. The biggest thing for us is in some of those tight games is not letting them get away from us. There's some games where all of a sudden a couple penalty kill, we get scored on a couple times, or a couple early goals, things like that, and we've gotten into penalty trouble is the biggest problem. Put a lot of pressure on that, some undisciplined, and so 5-on-5, I think our D zone has been pretty good. There's steps to take still with it, but from the goaltending and back out, we've been pretty solid, and it's just a matter of playing a full 60 minutes and making sure we have that intensity Friday and Saturday night as well.
Coach Howe kind of talked a little bit about the penalty trouble, and the Nanooks, I don't think it's any secret at this point. Over 18 minutes of penalties a game. Certainly not where I think the coach's staff, like you guys, would like that to be. But talk about the discipline and kind of the message to the team and the locker room, and what that's like to kind of battle out adversity.
Yeah, I don't think it's obviously through the year there's been too many penalties, right? And there's been addressed to the team and spoken to it. And one of our success factors is just taking less penalties in the game. And again, it's not like a one guy or this guy or taking all the penalties. It's just kind of like one night one guy, make a mistake and is not focused and dialed in. And I think it's just kind of like Joe touched on it. It's just a consistency, right? And the same thing with penalties. It goes. You got to be focused. You got to be dialed in. And there's penalties. The good penalties you're going to kill, and there's just penalties that you cannot take in offensive zone, and especially when you're 4-on-5 and you're killing already and put your team down 3-5, it's not acceptable, and you just can't do it. We're learning it the hard way. Like I wish we didn't learn the hard way, and we just can maybe learn right away. But it's just like I said, it's been a process through everything with guys like, okay, you can't do this, you can get away with this, and it's not acceptable, and at the end of the day, it's not good enough, and we need to do a better job with it.
So this last series, the split with Bemidji State, I think we've kind of hit. It's been a full team game that got that win on Saturday, but now we're back at home. We have probably one of the better teams in the country right now with Bowling Green coming into town off of a split with Michigan Tech. We've seen the goals that they can score and kind of what they can do. What's the prospect for this series? What are you guys looking for, and what's the expectation against the Falcons?
First things first, one of our messages and our focuses has been to be great on Friday night. We came out against Bemidji Friday, had a good first period. Not great. We shot ourselves in the foot a little bit with some mistakes, but overall I think 5-on-5 we outchanced them in the first period, and so we felt good, and then we had a lapse in the second and the third. But you look at the last 3 series, Lake State, Northern, and Bemidji, our Friday nights have not been good enough. It's been reverted back to some old habits, some old ways, not how we've been playing. Has almost felt like we take a little bit of step back, but the team, to their credit, has responded really well on Saturday nights. Cleaned some things up, played a much better hockey game, like you said, all around. So going into Bowling Green, first things first, we want to have success and want to play the game the right way on Friday, give ourselves a chance to win Friday. They're a talented hockey team. Obviously, they've got some top-end players. They play the game fast. They play it very aggressive. So preparing our guys to be ready for that. I think obviously they've got to travel up here. It's a little bit of a trip for them, and on the big ice it's a little bit of an adjustment for them. But we want to take advantage of that home ice, of that home crowd, which we don't think we've done a great job of, and that starts with putting our right foot forward on Friday and being ready to go right off the bat, right off the first face-off. I think if we do that, it'll build, and we've shown that we've had an ability to adjust and to clean things up on Saturdays, but it should be a great series. I mean, and it's been shown in this league, wherever you are in the standing, it doesn't matter. Anyone can beat anyone. We're excited about it, but it's definitely, they're one of the top teams in our conference for a reason, and they're ranked number 9 in the country for a reason, because they're a very talented hockey club.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think probably one advantage, I think that's not even just for this series coming forward, but down the stretch as we look forward, the rest of the schedule, most of the travel for the Nanooks is over with. You got one big trip against for Huntsville, but other than that, it's 3 home series, and and then a trip to Anchorage at the end of the year. But talk a bit about the kind of the adjustment for travel. Obviously, with 10 freshmen on the roster, it can be a bit of a struggle. So, and kind of as things have shifted from early on in the year was very travel heavy. Are you guys kind of excited to be home quite a bit here at the end?
Yeah, I think it's adjustment. At least for me, it is too. Right? It's my first year out here, and you leave on Tuesday nights or whatever it's called, Wednesday morning.
Wherever 1 o'clock in the morning falls in your body clock. Yeah.
So it's I think it's adjustment. It was adjustment for me, right? Then you get there, you get somewhere Wednesday night, and I didn't even practice that afternoon when we get there. And I am just beat. I'm definitely beat myself, and don't have much energy. So, but again, with players, it's you got to take care of your body, right? And we've been talking about it in the locker room, nobody feels sorry about us, right? Everybody wants to take advantage of that one, so nobody feels sorry about us. So we can't gripe about it, and so we just got to move on and deal with it, take care of our bodies, make sure we get good meals and good practices in, and get a good preparation on Thursday and play on Friday and Saturday on the road. Obviously, being at home here, but again, like Coach talked about it, we're just looking at it Friday night. I'm not looking at what's going on next week or the week after that, right? Mm-hmm. Friday night is the most important game on the schedule. The first 5 minutes is most important that we have coming up this season. Those are the 5 minutes that you can control, right? And then you build on the next 5. So yes, it's nice to be home and play some home games, but Friday night is the game, and that's the most important game on our schedule right now.
Yeah, so is that kind of the message to the team? Is that kind of the 5 minutes at a time? Is that kind of a mental trick?
Yeah, it is. We were just believers that, you take one shift at a time and 5 minutes, and then you go play the next 5 and the next 5 and put those little sequences together, and you don't think about what's going to happen in the third period or never not, right? It's the Friday game, first 5, let's go, let's win the first 5 minutes and then move on and play the next 5 and win the next 5.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you mentioned it is your first year here, and I don't want to leave yourself out of the limelight by any means, but obviously with the new coaching staff, our 2 assistants here is their first years with the Nanook Hockey program. So, Joe, I guess we'll start with you a little bit. You played here. First of all, you Division I college goaltender at Colorado College, played with guys like Jaden Schwartz and that nature. You're here for the Bryce-Laska Gold Rush. On the losing end, maybe fortunately for us, but it must have just stuck with you. You wanted to come back and be part of the program. Tell us a little bit about where you're from and what brought you here.
Yeah, no, it was. I had a fun time when we came up for that tournament. It was a lot of fun. It was a good trip for us. Obviously, being in the old WCHA, we were familiar with coming up to Anchorage, but it was fun to come up to Fairbanks, make that trip up. I remember my dad actually came up, and he went to Denali National Park and all that good stuff, did the tourist things, and so he had a blast up here as well. But yeah, obviously, and then my connection coming from the University of Denver with Tavis McMillan there and Dallas starting there this year and knowing those guys, obviously that helped me say, hey, this is a great place, obviously, and they love it up here. They love the town. They love the people. They love the program, and obviously they had both had great success up here at different times as players and coaches. And so to me, I was very comfortable with it. I was excited about it, and then obviously getting to know Karlis and Coach Largent, it was a no-brainer for me, and I was really, really excited, and I still am excited. I've enjoyed my time up here for sure.
Yeah. In your first winter, obviously, it's you had the roller coaster of temperatures and forecasts and stuff, but hit 40 below there for a little while when you guys first took out to Bemidji, so I guess you lucked out a little bit on that one. But. Yeah,
I've been pretty lucky. I've been told that the beginning of the winter was pretty mild. I was kind of wondering what the fuss was about, especially during the fall. And I remember being up here for the alumni golf outing, and it was like 55, 60 degrees and sunny. It was a gorgeous day. People would say this place is great. But no, it's gotten down there. We had one spurt where it got down 30s below and things like that, and it's cold. There's no two ways about it, but it's cold in a lot of places in the country, and it's pretty dark in a lot of places too, so it's not too bad. Just stay inside a little bit more.
There you go. Well, thanks for being here. We're glad to have you. But now, Karlis, coming from overseas, from Latvia, spent some time in the U.S., played college hockey, University of Alabama Huntsville, head coach at Shreveport last year, national title in there. Talk a little about what brought you up to Alaska.
Well, again, when no one, obviously, I knew Eric from, he's been recruiting down south in North American League, and I knew him, and obviously I knew Lance because Lance West used to be my coach back in Alabama Huntsville, so I knew Lance. I knew about Alaska, and actually played with some guys, Efren Larrañaga, who played at UAF, and Aaron Grossel. So also played down here, so kind of passed across some guys that I know of and then that played here. But again, for me, how I end up here, obviously when the position was open, Eric reached out to me and said he would be interested in applying and going through the process, and I was, because again, it's just kind of steps you're trying to move on and trying to advance your career, and part of it has come from juniors is either you go to the pro level or you start going to NCAA. So it was one of those things that went through the process, and I was fortunate enough here, it gave me an opportunity to come here and work with them, and it's been awesome. And then Joe later on joined the staff, and trying to recruit him away from Denver. So it was it's been fun, right? At the same time, I think it's been challenging in some ways, but it's always in life. I look at it, it's a learning experience. You're trying to get better and trying to keep people that are around you, trying to make sure they get better and improve yourself and help everybody around.
Mm-hmm. And you've obviously been involved, coming from Latvia. We've seen Gustav Skrigels join the team. A guy who's played for you not just in Shreveport, but also internationally as well. I mean, as being involved in the World Juniors and some of the Olympics. Tell us about your international experience there too.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough, done quite international things, and with some high-end coaches and people that we know in North America is Ted Nolan and Bob Hartley. I worked with them, and I guess the biggest thing I would say, and the coolest thing I've done, is obviously the Sochi Olympics in 2014. The opening ceremony walk, and then obviously the Olympic Games, and I still have my scorecards from the Olympics. When you look at it, Crosby's in there and everything else, and kind of coaching that those games and at that level, and just the overall experience. But again, done some World Championship stuff with men, and obviously the World Juniors that I've done more recently. Again, it's the games are different, but they're the same. So at the end of the day, you just got to make sure you get the most competitive guys together and willing to play for each other. And if you do those things and you're consistent, then good things happen.
What and for both of you, if you had to say, sort of one thing, to the fans and to even potential recruits coming here to Alaska, what would you say is sort of your guys' brand of hockey, and what do you guys want people to know about coming here and playing in Fairbanks?
You want to go first? You want me to go? It doesn't matter.
I would say, and one thing is tough, right? We want to be a lot of things as a team, but the word that comes to mind for me is relentless. I think everyone wants to play with the puck, obviously. Everyone wants to play fast, but we want to be relentless in all areas of the ice. And it's a game that we're going to win as a group, as a team. We're not going to win because we have one great player or two or three great players. We're going to win because up and down the lineup we have guys that are committed, they're relentless, and they're committed to our process, to our success. And it creates a great environment in our locker room, and we want to create that environment in the locker room where it's a family. It's tighter than just a group or a team or anything like that, but it's a family, and we're striving there. And obviously it's an adjustment for everyone. You have new staff and all that kind of stuff. So we're growing, we're getting there. We're not where we want to be yet or where we're going to be, but we're on the right path. And again, just our relentless brand of hockey.
Maybe it's a little tough to follow that one up, but
yeah,
Karlis,
I think I just will hit the marks on it. I think for recruits, I would say it'd be the opportunity. You come in here, and if you're willing to work hard, there's a great opportunity to come here and kind of, I wouldn't say rebuild, because it's a great history down here, right? But it's just kind of take the next wave and take the Alaska Fairbanks to the next level. I think for recruits, coming in here and working hard and get opportunity to play and showcase yourself and develop your skills, and be around players that want to work hard. And like Coach talked about it, just having that family and wanting to play for each other, right? That's the biggest thing. We're just kind of building on it, that you want to just play for each other and compete as a team, play on the ice as a group of one, right? And just go out there and battle. I think that's the biggest thing. We're trying to harp on it. And again, let's just be honest. If Alaska Fairbanks, right? We may not get the the sexiest recruits there is, but we don't want those guys. We want the guys who come in here and then work hard, because this is a place that, you know, work ethic and commitment comes first, and we want the guys come in here and just work their tails off and show the community they're hard workers. They want to compete on a daily basis, and they want to make sure they want their school to be proud of them.
Yeah, well, that certainly tells a lot about the program and what you guys are committed to see what to see how the roster is gonna shape itself under your guys' coaching and recruiting. And obviously, the hard work is not lost. This weekend's Military Appreciation Weekend against Bowling Green. We have the annual Army Air Force game with two large military bases here in the Fairbanks community. So certainly going to be a great weekend. Saturday against Bowling Green, that game will start at 1:35 for that Army Air Force game, and then military and their dependents will get into the Saturday game against Bowling Green, with the Nanooks take the ice at 7:07 p.m. So Friday, Saturday, both games start at 7:07. The military game will be at 1:35 on Saturday. It should be a great weekend of hockey here in Fairbanks. Ice Dogs also in town, so Thursday night, Friday and Saturday for them. So hopefully we'll get the crowds to show up, and we'll see if hopefully these guys will put some 6 points on the board for Nanook Hockey. So have a great weekend. Thanks a lot for your time, guys. We really appreciate it. This has been the first edition of 2019's Behind the Bench. We'll call this one Coffee with Coaches. So thanks so much for joining us, and have a great weekend. Go Nooks.